Hola mi gente, ¿cómo están? Mi nombre es Alba Mar, me pueden decir Alba. El canal se llama Ceriela. Estamos aquí para hablar de libros y algunos de ellos en español desde Puerto Rico. Hello, my name is Alba Mar. You may call me Alba. The channel name is Ceriela. We're here to talk about books, some of them in Spanish from Puerto Rico. And today I'm going to do a tag that has become viral on BookTube. And that is the tag, original tag by Olive at a Book Olive. She has provoked a lot of discussion. Let's put it that way. And it is very thought-provoking, as it should be on BookTube. I will link, of course, her original video down below. And I, of course, have watched many of these BookTube Boujee Tag. And some have stood out more than others, of course. The first one that caught my attention was Britta's response. First of all, because she didn't really do the Boujee Tag. She responded to the cost of books, and I will link that one down below also. In that discussion video, I learned so much about the production of books, and the fact that books in some countries have a set price as compared to other countries. Let's just leave it like that. Another video that was very thought-provoking for me, besides being funny, was Brian over at Bookish. I'll link that one down below also, because of his unique take on the concept of bougie and prolo. Because a lot of us, especially on BookTube, as Steve Donahue calls it, 2.0, some of us don't frequent the circles in which that term bougie is used. So I'm a little reluctant to use the word bougie, first of all, because I don't know what it is. I feel disoriented and confused like I was when I first saw my brother, my kid brother, after 10 years of living in Puerto Rico in the countryside, and he never left the neighborhood in Chicago. And when I saw him, he started talking about things being bad. Things being bad. Oh, that's bad. But he didn't look as if they were bad. And I was completely taken by surprise when he told me that bad was good. Same thing happened when I saw my daughter, visited my daughter while she was in university in Georgia. And she started using the word whatever. And everything was whatever. Everything I said was whatever. Everything that happened was whatever. And I was, what is this? And of course, now, words that before, when I was small, were never pronounced are now commonly used, like the F word, and in certain circles, the N word. And while some people say that words are just words, they're not. So I'm not comfortable using the word bougie. Then I heard Cindy, over at Cindy Reads, use the word yesterday when I saw her video about how she takes Instagram pictures. And she talked about how now she was living in a bougie building. And I got a little extra hint about what bougie means. So, could I qualify as someone who's going to talk about bougie and Boujee Booktube? I don't know. But I'm going to try it. Oh, Another one that made a comment that that made me think was Juan at Bookish Islander, when he said he doesn't fetishize books. Very, very interesting, that concept of fetishizing books. I know where that comes from. So anyway, let's start off with the questions and see how I do in my version from Puerto Rico as a retired teacher who's brought up in the diaspora. My answers to the Booktube Boujee Tag. Number 1, what is your average monthly budget for books? I've heard people say, I really don't have a budget for books. Well, I do, because after living in one of the most expensive cities in the world, New York, on a teacher's salary, which was 3 times what I was making after working 16 years in Puerto Rico. I almost had a heart attack when I saw that my first paycheck as a non-tenured teacher starting off in Chicago was 3 times more than what I was making in Puerto Rico. And even then, when I started crunching numbers after a few years of living in New York, and I factored in all of my work expenses and travel expenses on the train, on the subway, to the school whenever I used it, and clothes and boots and coats that I never wore in Puerto Rico, it turns out that I was making minimum wage as compared to some of my very close friends in New York who worked as housekeepers. Let's keep that in mind. So yes, I learned how to budget for books as a teacher. Books are part, and I'm going to link my budget. It's part of my budget because it is variable expense. Sometimes I spend more than others. And of course, I know that after BookTube, what I spend on books has gone up exponentially. Yes. So yeah, I have a budget for books. What's the most you've ever spent in a bookstore? I have spent over $150, but that's on special occasions. For example, when I go to the bookstore with my grandchildren, I can easily go up to that amount. But of course, I've saved up for it. Number 3, are you willing to pay full price for a brand new release, or will you wait until you have a coupon or there's a sale? I don't follow new releases, especially in the ones that are released in the United States, unless it's something that really has been on my mind for a long time. But for example, the Testaments, I'm not interested. I can wait for that to be free at the library. I don't care how long I have to wait to read the Testaments. I used to wait longer than that to see movie releases that would come out on DVD, so that's never been a problem for me. But for Puerto Rican books, yes, I pay full price. And sometimes when they come out, depending on the topic. Number 4, would you rather buy one new book or several less expensive used copies? Guess. Of course, several less expensive copies. What do you think is a reasonable price for a new hardback book? I would say $25. A paperback, $15. And an ebook, between $5 and $7. That's my opinion. Is a signed book worth more to you? How about a first edition? No, not really. It's nice to know, for example, that I have Esmeralda Santiago's name scrawled in a book, and because it reminds me of a beautiful weekend spent with loved ones watching an adaptation of her book when I was Puerto Rican. So yeah, if the signed copy of the book reminds me of a very heartwarming presentation, of course, yes. But buying a signed copy without the experience, no. First editions, no. I'm not that kind of a book collector. Number 7, what is your most valuable book, sentimental or actual value? Well, of course, I don't have expensive books on me. I wouldn't be able to afford them. One of sentimental value was one that I picked up, this yellowing before acid-free paper copy of Cecilia Valdés. It's a novel out of Mexico, Cirilo Villaverde. Cecilia Valdés is the story of mulata during colonial times in Cuba, and it's a tragic romance. How she falls in love with the white son of a plantation owner, and of course they can't get married because she's mulata. They later made a zarzuela, and we had that record at home. That's why this is sentimental to me, because we had the LP at home, and I had learned all the zarzuela by heart. And I found an animated clip made in Cuba by Ika, and I will link that down below. And I also will link the version sung by Colombian soprano Betty Garcés. Beautiful, beautiful rendition of one of the arias in the zarzuela Cecilia Valdés. Now this book is practically falling apart, but it has sentimental value for me. It was printed in Mexico in 1972. And then, of course, and I'm not taking it out of the plastic, I have my mom's Adventist hymn book with all of the hymns. It's leather bound. Yeah, I'm not taking it out. It's also yellowed. It's before acid-free paper. And then, of course, the humongous Bible. The humongous Bible that she gave me in 1978, in which there is space to write the family tree. Pardon the redundancy. Yeah. That hardly ever leaves the drawer where it is kept, and it also is falling apart right there at the seam. Yeah, so those are my most sentimental books. Now, will you pay more for a cover or an edition that you like better? No. I almost fell down that rabbit hole at the beginning of BookTube. When I started watching Natali, Natali at my reading days had mentioned another booktuber, another Australian booktuber, who had been searching out the original covers of the #1 ladies detectives agency, and I looked it up. They were beautiful, beautiful covers with African motifs, and I started longing, hankering for those covers. But then I realized, no, it was too much hassle to get a complete set of those first edition covers. So no, I nipped that in the bud for real. The next one is number 9. What physical characteristics does a good quality book have? Yeah. Let's show a good quality. This one that I mentioned the other day, Truman y Puerto Rico, was printed in China, but it is a truly, truly sewn hardcover book. This is really, really sewn. right? High quality, semi-glossy paper. Hefty, of course, weighs a ton. And does not fall, pages don't fall out. And I'm going to compare that to my beloved At Canaan's Edge, which I had to repair 3 times while I was reading it. Because even though you think they have this little woven doohickey up here, it's not woven. No, it's glued. And it comes out really fast. So I had to repair this one 3 times while I was reading it. So a good quality book for me does not fall apart in your hands. Especially when you have to pay, these prices. I didn't pay full price for this one, of course. This one was used when I bought it. Oh, yeah. If you won the lottery, what bookish things would you do with the money? Well, first of all, I don't play the lottery. I wouldn't know where to look for the information if I won the library. I wouldn't be able to decipher how much money I got. I wouldn't know where to go. No, I don't play the lottery, so I would never win it. But let's dream. If I had the money, and it was a lot of money, yeah, because, if I won $5,000, I wouldn't be able to even pay for my the rest of my mortgage. No. What bookish things would I do with the money? Of course, if you saw my last video or the one before that, I would do something about libraries in Puerto Rico. I would make sure that every community had access to free books, quality books, all kinds of books. Libraries wouldn't just be electronic centers for people to come in and use the computers, which is a good idea. I'm not saying don't go to the library and use the computers. Of course you can go to the library and use the computers. But libraries are supposed to be for books. And I realized that after Hurricane Maria, when we didn't have internet, and we didn't have we couldn't even access our money through the ATM machines. So yeah, I believe in physical hard copy books. And that's one of the things that I would do. I would fund libraries or book exchanges or free book deposits, like the little free libraries that you see all over the place in the United States, and we're starting to see here in Puerto Rico, except that they're out in the open and they get rained on. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I would do with the money. Give us an image, actual or mental, of your dream home library. Well, I can't, because I don't have it. If I find a picture of the bookshelves that I would like, I'll put it up here, which are the bookshelves in my favorite bookstore, El Candil, which are like up to 4 feet tall, on wheels. Yes, because I want to be able, if there is a warning, for a hurricane warning, I want to be able to wheel them into the hallway here, far away from windows and the sliding door. I don't want them to be, damaged in a hurricane. So I want to be able to wheel my bookshelves out of danger. That's my dream library. And those have to be made, custom made. Yeah. So I want to touch on something that caught my attention in Brian's delightfully funny version of this tag. And that is his view of bourgeois and proletariat. And I just want to let Brian know that here in Puerto Rico, the most proletariat working class people that I know and that have mentored me in the struggles that we have here are the ones who have more books and on much less pay than what people make in the United States. But knowledge is power, and you budget for those things. So yeah, you really have to catch Brian's version of this tag. So tag your it. I am going to do what so many other people do at this part of the tag, and I'm going to tag anybody who hasn't done this tag yet, which are very few people. Please consider doing it. I think it's very, very thought-provoking. I'm still waiting for Britta's version of this tag, and I'd like to see the younger set of people doing this tag also. So yeah, take care, people. Keep reading. I'll look forward to your comments down below. Sigan leyendo, mi gente. Cuídense mucho. Adiós.